Hello, children. Welcome back to English class. Today's session, we are going to learn from Unit 6 poem. The title is Incident of the French Camp and it was written by Robert Browning. Before we enter into the poem, we'll see about the author. Robert Browning was born in Camberwell, a suburb of London on 7th May 1812. He was an English poet and playwright whose mastery of the dramatic monologue made him one of the foremost Victorian poets. He was educated mainly at home, but he attended a short course in Greek at London University. His poems are known for their irony, characterization, dark humor, social commentary, historical settings, and challenging vocabulary and syntax. He developed a unique form of conversational and rhythmic verse. The collection Dramatis Personae and the book length epic poem The Ring and the Book made him a leading British poet. By 1881, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to literature, a literary society called Browning Society was established. He died on 12th December 1889. Okay, obviously, you all know about chess, right? Yes. So, can you identify the chess pieces given in the slide? Yes, from left to right, the first coin is the king. The king can move one space in any direction. He can never move into check. And the second coin is the queen. The queen is placed next to the king. Like the king, she can move in any direction. She can move any number of spaces in any direction. And the third coin is bishop. The bishops can move along the diagonals of the chessboard. One bishop starts on a white square and the other starts on a black square. And the fourth coin is knight or horse. The knights or horse move in an L shape. And the fifth coin is rook. The rooks can move up and down the board. And the sixth coin is pawn or soldier. The pawn has the option to move forward one space or two spaces. After this move, they can move one space forward. Before we get into the poem, let's know about the interesting background of the incident of the French camp. Napoleon Bonaparte was originally an officer in the French army, became the army chief and a legendary warrior, who later known for his military skill and genius. The poem Incident of the French Camp narrates an actual incident in the war in 1809 between France and Austria, led by Napoleon. Napoleon was standing on a little mount, eagerly looking towards Ratisbon. His mind was oppressed with anxious thoughts, and he said to himself that all his ambitious plans would come to nothing if Lance failed to storm Ratisbon. First, we'll see the gist of the poem. The poem Incident of the French Camp describes an act of chivalry, gallantry, patriotism, and sacrifice on the part of a young French soldier. The French army had attacked the German city of Ratisbon. After they had achieved triumph, the news of the victory was conveyed to the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte by that young soldier who was brimming with pride and glory, although he was on the verge of death. Thereafter, the wounded soldier breathed his last. Let's see the poem in detail. Incident of the French camp. You know, we French stormed Ratisbon, a mile or so away. On a little mount, Napoleon stood on a storming day, with neck out thrust, you fancy how, legs wide, arms locked behind, as if to balance the prone brow, oppressive with its mind. Here, stormed means sudden violent attack. Ratisbon means a city in Austria. Mount means hillock or hill. Out thrust means extended forward. Fancy means imagine. Prone means inclined downward. Oppressive means harsh or domineering. In the first stanza, the poet is describing the scene of the French attack on the German city of Ratisbon. Marshal Lannes led the French aggression in the year 1783. On that occasion, the French Emperor Napoleon stood on the hillock just a mile away from the scene of the onslaught. He appeared to be in pensive mood. He had his neck sticking out and his legs were wide apart. He had his arms joined behind his back, and a cloud on his brow was quite visible. It seemed that something very important was weighing upon his mind, and he was perhaps working out his future strategy and line of action. Okay, who took the city of Ratisbon by storm? Yes, the French army took the city of Ratisbon by storm, isn't it? Yes. Okay. Where was Napoleon standing on the day of attack on the city of Ratisbon? Yes, you're absolutely correct. Napoleon was standing on a little mount near the battlefield. Just as perhaps he mused, my plans that soar to earth may fall. Let once my army leader Lance waver at yonder wall. Out twixt the battery, smokes there flew, a rider bound on bound, full galloping, nor bridle drew until he reached the mound. Here, mused means thought deeply. Lance, Duke of Montebello, a general in Napoleon's army. Bridle means the headgear used to control a horse. These lines bring to light the contemplative nature of Napoleon and the courage and enthusiasm of the young soldier who was heading towards him to convey the good news of victory. Napoleon was lost in his thoughts, pondering over the events of the days to come. All his future planning depended upon his success at Ratisbon. He was eagerly waiting to see the French flag flutter over the German city. As he concentrated upon his future strategy, he observed a young French soldier rushing towards him, riding at top speed. The rider pierced through the blanket of smoke. He came straight to the place where Napoleon was standing and was waiting to receive the good tidings. Okay, who came galloping on a horse to Napoleon? Yes, a young soldier came galloping on a horse to Napoleon, right? Yes. Okay. Why was the rider in a hurry? Yes, the rider was in a hurry to give the happy news of victory to the emperor. Am I right? Yes. Then of that flung in smiling joy and held himself erect by just as horse mane a boy you oddly could suspect. So tight he kept his lips compressed, scarce any blood came through. You looked twice here, you saw his breast was all but shot in two. Here, compressed means pressed together. In the third stanza, the poet appreciated the heroic behavior of the young soldier. Although he was fatally wounded, he displayed extraordinary courage, confidence, and self control. He jumped off his horse and stood at attention before his chief. His mouth was full of blood, but he had his lips so tightly sealed that not a drop of blood oozed out of it. He maintained his cool and composure, and with confidence and chivalry, conveyed the cheerful news of victory. One could never realize that the young soldier's breast was shot into two unless one has very keen and observant eye on him. Okay, why did the raider keep his lips compressed? Yes, he wanted to block the flow of blood from his mouth, right? So he kept his lips compressed. Well, cried he, Emperor, by God's grace, we have got you Ratisbon. The marshals in the marketplace, and you will be there anon to see your flag bird flap his wings, where I, to heart's desire, perched him. The chief's eye flashed, his plans soared up again like fire. Here, anon means soon. Flagbird means the imperial eagle on the French flag. Perched mean sat on or rested. In this stanza, the poet is describing the way in which the young soldier informed Napoleon of their success and the reaction of the emperor to this good news. Although the young man was in intense pain and suffering, he finally opened his lips and, with a great sense of pleasure and personal pride, informed Napoleon of the annexion of the German city. Napoleon was delighted to learn that martial lands had reached the heart of the city, and the emperor was eagerly awaited by the triumphant forces. The soldier felt a special kind of joy and pride in the fact that he, with his own hands, had flown the French flag over Ratisbon. The flag had the figure of a bird on it. Thus, when the flag fluttered in the air, it seemed as though the bird was flapping its wings. No sooner did Napoleon get the news of victory, a sparkle of joy and satisfaction came to his eyes. He once again started thinking about his future strategy. Okay, where did the raider plant the French flag after Ratisbon was captured? Yes, after Ratisbon was captured, the raider planted the French flag in the marketplace, right? Yes. Okay. What was Napoleon's reaction on hearing the news of victory? Yes, you're correct. Napoleon's eyes flashed and his plans soared up like fire when he heard the news of victory, isn't it? Yes, the chief's eye flashed, but presently softened itself as sheaths, a film the mother eagle's eye, when her burnished eaglet breathes. You are wounded, nay, a soldier's pride touched to the quick, he said, I am killed, sire, and his chief beside, smiling, the boy fell dead. Here, sheaths mean covers. In the last stanza, the poet brings to light on Napoleon's loving and affectionate behavior towards the young soldier who was about to breathe his last. The good news of success had brought to Napoleon's eyes a special kind of glitter which faded away no sooner had he noticed that the soldier was fatally wounded. The feelings of Napoleon at that moment were just like those of the mother eagle who gets confused when she finds her young ones badly burnished and on the verge of death. She fails to understand how to save their lives. Similarly, that maternal affection surged up in Napoleon's heart and he inquired whether the boy was wounded. The soldier proudly declared that he felt joy and thrill in giving his life for his country. There was a smile of pride and satisfaction on the young soldier's lips as he fell dead near his emperor's feet. Okay, when did the narrator find that the boy was badly wounded? Yes, when the boy kept his lips compressed to prevent the flow of blood from his mouth, the narrator found that he was badly wounded, right? Yes. Okay, why did Napoleon's eyes become soft as a mother eagle's eyes? Yes, Napoleon's eyes became soft when he found that the young soldier was wounded, isn't it? Yes. Let's see the glossaries from the textbook. Stormed, sudden violent attack. Ratisbon, a city in Austria. Mound, hillock or hill. Outthrust, extended forward. Fancy, imagine. Prone, inclined downward. Oppressive, harsh, domineering. Mused, thought deeply. Lance, Duke of Montebello, a general in Napoleon's army. Bridle, the headgear used to control a horse. Compressed, pressed together. Anon, soon. Flagbird, the imperial eagle on the French flag. Perched, sat on or rested. Sheaths, covers. Now we'll see few key points for better understanding. There was war between France and Austria in 1809. Napoleon was standing on a mount and waiting for the result. A young soldier came galloping on a horse to Napoleon. He was severely wounded. He announced that the French army had conquered Ratisbon. On hearing it, Napoleon became happy. He noticed the wounds of the soldier. His eyes became soft as a mother eagle's eyes. He asked the soldier if he was wounded. He replied that he was killed and he fell down dead heroically. Thus, the young showed his patriotism and matched his emperor. Okay, children, Up to this, the poem gets over. Hope you understand. Please go through this poem in your textbook for better understanding and start learn from the given notes. Thank you.